My nose always itches when I do this for some reason. Let me see. Okay. Good here. Here. Well, I hope. Welcome everybody. Thought it was hard for me, yeah. For some, this may be a little divisive. Me, I don't have anything to do with stupid religion or anything, and I don't like how it gets into disclosure of UFOs and stuff like that. But is it Tim Burkett, I believe? That's right. UFOs. I don't know. I saw this. Let's see here.
Can handle it. I'm sick of. I told President Trump the other day, you need disclosure. We need transparency. America can handle it. I'm sick of hearing this stuff. We can't handle it. It's, and I'm a Christian, and they appealed to me on that level. Barcha, this stuff's kind of anti-Christian, and your beliefs. I said, no, it isn't. Genesis 1, God created the heavens and the earth. I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it with my own two eyes. Okay?
All right.
So, but Trump's the guy to do it. If anybody will do it, if anybody's a disruptor, it's Donald J. Trump, and he will disrupt with this. And I had a conversation with folks at the White House today just about that, and we're going to be, hopefully some things will be coming out soon. I told President Trump the other day, you need disclosure. We need transparency. America can handle it. I'm sick of hearing this stuff. We can't handle it. It's, and I'm a Christian, and they appealed to me on that level. Barcha, this stuff's kind of anti-Christian, and your beliefs. I said, no, it isn't. Genesis 1, God created the heavens and the earth. I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it with my own.
About these stupid religions, it's out there based on ancient tribes that hate each other and want to kill each other off or whatever, saying our God is the only way, and that's full of shit. Because I've been to the other side, I've had near-death experiences. And you don't have to, be with this religion or that religion to go to heaven. You don't need, a stupid Bible. You don't need Quran. You don't need a Torah or whatever, anything like that. It pisses me off. These religious people, how tribal is, couple thousand years or, 3,000 years and stuff like that. And it's just trash. It pisses me off, and everything. And somebody's gonna downvote for this. At least have the balls. If somebody's gonna downvote for this, have the balls to come in and chat and do something, say something. But I used to be a church person. I used to be a Christian and stuff. And let me tell you, so the biggest abuses happen in Christian churches. I know because I've been in that stuff, brainwashing and saying that UFOs are Satan and this stuff. I was called demon, and Satan was in me, and I wanted to kick their fucking ass so bad. I almost did with some of them, and everything. And I was, people abused me and all kinds of stuff and trying to brainwash me, and to thinking that, you know, I get so pissed off about stupid human religion. It's like, I'm so above that. I am way above stupid religion stuff. Just about. The thing is, if you're a good person, you try to do good at least, you have a chance of going to heaven. You don't have to be this religion or that religion, and everything. It's just, it isn't just one God, there are many gods, there are one stuff like that and everything. And oh my God. It does piss me off. Tim Burkett is tired of going to keep his secrets. Yeah.
We've never gotten to the bottom of a lot of these big secret issues. Yeah. You think we'll ever get to the bottom of this Epstein file thing, or is it always going to be a mystery?
It's always going to be a mystery. The Biden administration had it for 4 years and wouldn't let anybody in it. And now we're releasing it, but nobody trusts what's in it. So,
and a lot of stuff is not going to be released, apparently.
I don't trust what's in it, so either
way. A lot of stuff is released.
It's interesting that, like, this place is just full of secrets, and they're... So
you're not doing a very good job of it.
You're pretty honest, though, I hope. So you don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of the Epstein files, no matter how...
I don't think anybody's ever going to be satisfied, because you've got ladies that were girls that were involved in it early on, and now some of them are in the files as helping recruit. I mean, at what point do they go from victim to criminal? You know, so I don't know. That's a legal question, moral question. I'm not sure. So there's a lot in there that'll be gone through for years. And unfortunately, everybody has a very selective process of going through this, because now all of a sudden the Democrats are saying, oh, we've been wanting to get this stuff out. Well, they never mention a peep of it for 4 years, and I raised total hell about it.
Yeah, I am surprised none of it came out during the Biden term, especially if it was there was some negative stuff about Trump in there. I'm surprised, why would you withhold that sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Do you understand why the public would be so frustrated that
He's too loud. Way too loud. But there are Democrats and Republicans that are involved with Epstein. You have people in intelligence and stuff like that, and people in royalty in different parts of the world and everything else. So, I mean, you can't blame Democrats. That's bullshit. But anyways.
UFOs. There's been a lot of...
My husband is in the corner, for the record, pumping his fist right now that you're asking this question.
So, I mean, is there anything... We've had some declassification of some very strange videos that look like they are, unidentified flying objects. Is there anything in the files that you think you could find or you have found?
There is.
Nothing that I'm prepared to talk about today.
Such a fucking liar and two-faced. These people in the Trump administration or any other administration, they're full of shit and everything. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I have UFOs on film and everything like that. I make contact with ETs and UFOs and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, I can't. That's secret. That's like our little secret thing. I'm so special. It's only for us special people. Fuck you all. This is these fucking bitches in government. I'm so pissed off at these wankers in government. These criminals keeping this shit a secret. The thing is, us normal people have to get this out there. Because these rats in the government are not going to let it out. Because there's too much criminal activity being done. And there's a lot of murder being done. And there's a lot of human trafficking being done. And everything. And I don't know why these idiots are asking about UFOs when it's right in front of everybody's face. It pisses me off to the core. Why do we not have this technology, nearby scribes? We do have that technology. Are you so stupid as to not know that? That we have this?
Yeah. I mean, it's been an 80-year cover-up of the existence of non-human intelligent life, and
there's no doubt in your mind, like as you have gone through this, and now you've seen the reaction of the film. There's no doubt in your mind.
Yeah. I mean, too many extremely senior members of the military, intelligence community, the government, folks who have had access to classified information about this, they've all been extremely definitive when they say that the evidence exists, that we are not alone in the universe, that there is other intelligent life, and that it has been covered up.
And part of the effort is not only a concern about national security, but also this reverse engineering part of this that Secretary Rubio, others, Senator Rounds have talked about. We have a clip from the documentary.
This is the biggest discovery in human history. It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
This one breakthrough can be the key to interstellar travel.
We can talk more about teleportation. How can we use these technologies and all the capabilities that might come from it, not to fight a war, but to increase our standard of living?
It's hard to get your head around all of this, but that's a big part.
That's another thing. It puts all these power companies out of business. It puts oil producing countries out of business. The thing is, they've already made their billions. So it's like a lot of these oil producing OPEC countries could go without it. It doesn't matter. So I mean, with them, like Dubai, oil producing country, Saudi Arabia, they started doing all these other projects because they know that the oil isn't going to last forever. And, having this unlimited energy and stuff like that, if we can have it clean, really clean, and a lot of it is not, causes cancer and stuff, then, not only that, but puts us to where we should be able to go to the stars, and we should be able to interact with other extraterrestrials, non-human intelligence, stuff like that. We should be able to do that, and you have, contractors, military contractors, and people in government want this to be a dictatorship where they keep us here on a prison planet. They want to keep us imprisoned here and want us pretty much stuck as Neanderthals in a cave. Pretty much just like cavemen. They want to keep us like that. And they want them to be special, and only they can use that stuff. But
Yeah. Look, these UAP are displaying
UFOs,
flight performance characteristics that we don't have the ability to do. Could completely revolutionize the way we live if we can crack it. And so a big part of the drive for disclosure is to bring about this technological progress that could revolutionize the way we live.
I don't get why people, have this for Congress. Now they're part of the cover-up. Congress is. They're part of the criminal activity that's keeping it secret. They want the power too. They want them to be that special status of gods, among mortals. They want to have that godly intelligence and stuff of, I know what you don't know type of thing, and have that power with the people and everything. And also they can make money off of having stock in different companies that does this reverse engineering and stuff like that. I don't know why people are so stupid to want to have from Congress. The truth is already out there. They exist. Why do you want a bunch of criminals from, the military, people in the military, Congress, that lie, cheat, and steal all the time, lie to the people? The biggest criminals that we have are politicians. A lot worse than normal people. This stuff. I mean, the 60s and 70s, taught a lot of us that, and it's really ridiculous and stupid how people trust their politicians, are stupid enough to trust them and go by their word as it's God's written law. They're pathetic, I think, because the thing is, all you have to do is look up to the sky a lot of times, and you're going to see stuff. You don't need Congress to tell you that UFOs are real or military and stuff like that. You should already know that. You should have the intelligence to know that already. But I don't digress. Kind of do, kind of don't. What is this? UFO, I don't know why these idiots. I mean, this is what new people that have just learned about this past like 5-6 years. These idiots call it UAP or something. It's UFOs, for Christ's sake. I hate so-called people always say UAP. It's like, what the fuck? I've been around this over 40 years. We've called it UFO. It just pisses me off.
Congresswoman, you set an April 14th deadline for Secretary of War Hegseth to release videos that you've said will shock the country. Has that deadline been met, and what was your last communication with the Pentagon?
It was not met. In fact, I had my staff reach out because I said, have they even responded? And then I had to call the White House because the Pentagon refused to respond, of which they then confirmed receipt and sent us a cute response over to House Oversight, which is where my task force is at that basically stated that they would brief us at a future date. But that's not really their call to make. Obviously, I would consider myself friends with Secretary Hegseth and definitely understood President Trump's directive to classify all these files. So whoever's trying to be cute at the Pentagon is about to get rolled because A, that's not up to them, B, Pete would not undermine the president, and C, this stuff has been ordered for release, and so we will be getting those files whether or not they agree with us.
Yeah, who did they offer to send to brief you? Were they specific about that? And I guess I'm wondering why you think that's insufficient. To me, getting the raw data, the raw information, some of it I've seen in front of the public, is a lot more important than just us talking about what our reaction is to it or how we feel about it. How do you view the distinction between a briefing and a true release?
Well, they didn't tell us who would brief us. They didn't set a date. And we specifically weren't asking for a briefing. We were asking for known files that exist. I believe the statements on shocking the nation were comments made, I think it was by Jeremy Corbell or whoever another source was. But you and I both know, we've both seen evidence of things that we can't explain. And so I think the fact that whoever was trying to be cute again at the Pentagon that decided to not pass our letter and to not release these at the said date, it just furthers the distrust that exists with the American people and the federal government, which, to be clear, I don't think Hegseth had anything to do with it. I don't even think his senior leadership had anything to do with it. I think it's someone lower level who's trying to, again, block this. And I'll continue to say that we have a right to see this information. We asked for specific documents for a reason.
Say, hey, I'm sorry. I'll do this myself. I'll go over their heads. I would come out of the Pentagon. I'll release it. Let's see here. I'm not going to just stay here if nobody's watching. Fuck that. Let's see. Let's see here. Right. Hopefully. All right. I don't happen if it went to other parts. Anyways. Well, I hate this bright. Let's go to serious stuff. So I want to get into this stuff here.
Weighing in on a wave of missing or dead American researchers and scientists, the mystery now fueling large concerns about a potential national security threat. Take a look. Here's the 3 scientists who have died. Some of the 7 who have been reported missing so far. All are reportedly tied to classified nuclear or aerospace programs. Now, while there is no known evidence at the moment of a connection between them all, that has not stopped the conspiracies and online speculation now officially reaching the White House.
Hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next couple.
Now, some popular internet theories ranging from potential ties to UFOs to acts of espionage from a foreign adversary. Meantime, President Trump saying he just hopes it's all random and said he expects to have answers in the coming days.
Let's see. Hold it. I like it. Make sure I'm not the right one here. UFO Colorado Defense Bunker. See here. It's 10.
Joining us now is Lauren Conlon. She is the East Coast contributor for LA Magazine. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Sure. Thank you for having me and covering this story.
Yeah. So let's talk. I mean, we've had a great amount of interest.
I don't know if I haven't seen this even, so I don't know. I hope this is a good one.
Inquiries around all of these missing scientists and some of these mysterious circumstances. Let's put this latest one up here on the screen. We have a missing nuclear official becomes the 10th person tied to this dark pattern surrounding U.S. secrets. So top line, Lauren, you've actually dug into the circumstances of these. Is this a real story? Or is the Daily Mail or the tabloids, are they making it more out than it should be? Or should we all really be paying attention?
I mean, I think we should all be paying attention. I think this is very important that this is coming to light. So I think the people that say, oh, well, you know, it's a coincidence because this happened in 2022. This happened in 2019. No one was paying attention then, but we're paying attention now. And what we're seeing is a pattern. And I don't want to sound cliche here because I think what's going on beyond some of the mysterious circumstances of these deaths or of these disappearances. You know, we're seeing names like Michael David Hicks, who was a NASA scientist. And, you know, off the top of my head, I'm like, well, I don't necessarily think that it's so odd that there's no cause of death listed. He didn't have an autopsy. You know, we don't know his religion, etc. But then when you see a pattern, you know, someone else whose deaths kind of echoed that, like Frank Maywald. You have to wonder, is it one? Possibly, and I'm speculating, they did take their own life, and this is because out of respect for the family, they don't want this out there. Or is it the elephant in the room here? Is it something bigger? Is it something connected to the government where these people have a lot of classified information? I don't even want to, I've gotten a lot of heat for saying that. Sure. And I want to be clear, I don't have proof of anything, but I am just saying the elephant in the room.
You don't need proof. It just is.
The government is not above this. And it doesn't always go through the president. The president doesn't always know what the hell is going on.
He doesn't know.
Right? May not even be our government.
And so I go back to saying, Tim Burchett, love him, love the guy, but he's like, President Trump will disrupt. He will do this. Okay, go for it. We'll all be waiting. I just don't see that happening. President Clinton said he wanted to release the JFK files, also the UFO files. That never happened. Obama, really wanted to release the UAP files, talks very highly about Area 51. Nothing happened there. There's a reason for that, guys. And I know that whistleblowers have come out and said that we might be ready, right? As a society, we might be ready. I think it's twofold. I think it's a tough answer. What I will say, why we want more transparency now and why the House Oversight Committee is demanding these 46 UAP videos is because we are at war, guys. I mean, it is very important because if you look at this list of videos, they do indicate some videos, some UAPs are flying over Iran in 2022, Syria, one shaped like a cigar. We're talking about conflict areas. So we are not able to tell in real time if this is a drone, if this is a UAP, or if this is some kind of enemy defense. And so I think that, us getting transparency, it'll be a big, big difference in whether or not we face disaster or defense.
Well, and let's get this next headline up on the screen. This is from the New York Post last week on the case of Michael Hicks. Another mysterious NASA death as ninth scientist linked to secret programs dies. Now, in the case of Michael Hicks, this death was in July of 2023. The Post reports, quote, "It is unclear if there's any foul play linked to Hicks's death, but his obituary asks for donations in his memory to go to Alcoholics Anonymous." He joins 8 other scientists or top officials who have died or disappeared recently. A couple of things I just want to zero in just from that last paragraph. First of all, evidence of foul play limited in this case. Looks like they're asking for donations to Alcoholics Anonymous. Secondly, when they say, quote, recently, this is a death back in 2023. People are going into the records, doing what journalists should do and trying to connect the dots, see if there are any more dots to be found, frankly. So are there similarities that stand out in these cases? I have seen a couple of them where it seems like maybe there's a substance pre-existing substance condition, but that doesn't, or substance abuse condition, but we don't have any comfort.
That makes no fucking sense. They don't allow people to work at these places with the substance abuse. They go through your history. They go through your criminal background. They go through everything. Well, you can't get... Do these idiots not know that they go through... You can't get top secret clearance without them going through everything that you do. That includes a mental stability testing as well, and they spy on you all the time. They go through your records, sometimes friends, go through family. They make sure that you're not an alcoholic. They make sure you're not a druggie. They go through all this stuff. So they don't even understand this. I'm sorry, it just pisses me off because these are kids pretty much that don't know anything about what they're talking about with this stuff. You're not going to get hired in these places with a substance abuse thing. I don't know. I mean, they could get one, but they're not going to stay in NASA. You're not going to stay in any of these jobs with any type of substance abuse, whether it's drugs or it's alcohol, sex, or whether, it's anything else. Because you're then unfit and you're fired.
information. We don't know what that actually could mean in the context of the deaths and disappearances. Even that question of which of these are deaths and which of these are disappearances, now that we're up to 10, it's sort of all hard to wrap your head around. So maybe help us find patterns that you've noticed.
Yeah, you're right about that. And we don't have enough info. I am in the process of reaching out to certain family members that I can find. Some of these deaths, though, and I'm talking specifically about the deaths that we are 100% confirmed on, like Carl Grillmair, these are very fresh. I don't feel, as a human being, just comfortable reaching out to a widow right away, right? But, Michael David Hicks, it's been a few years, and I go back to saying, I don't necessarily think that his death is directly connected to, let's say, General McCaslin's death. I think Michael David Hicks's death could be more connected to Frank Maywald, and possibly, yes, they were dealing with substance abuse issues, and that could be connected to everything that they were working on, everything that they knew. And I don't have proof of that. But yeah, go ahead.
So can you just explain a little bit, if people aren't super familiar, like General McCaslin, you and I are familiar, Frank Maywald as well. What were they working on? What's the possible connection? Because you've done a great job of actually highlighting the suspicious circumstances around these.
Yeah, so Frank Maywald, he was a NASA JPL scientist. He was a principal researcher at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab. And so he was trying to detect signs of human life on other planets. I obviously don't know what he found. He knows what he found. I'm assuming a handful of people know what he found. I don't think Congress knew what he found, but I don't know. And Carl Grillmair, what I will say about his death, I connect Carl Grillmair's, let's go back. I will say Neil McCaslin's death. General Neil McCaslin, he was a retired Air Force general, and he retired a number of years ago, but he was stationed at one point at Wright-Patterson. That's in Ohio, and if you're not familiar, reportedly, they hold extraterrestrial debris from the 1947 Roswell crash there. Again, I've never seen it with my own eyes, but he also worked with Monica Reza there, and she was a rocket science. She co-patented the Mondaloy, or co-invented the Mondaloy. So she was very, very intelligent, as was General McCaslin, and Monica Reza disappeared while hiking in June of 2025 in California, and Neil McCaslin disappeared in February of 2025, just the
Mondaloy. What? Mondaloy is the second largest. What the fuck? What the fuck?
As was General McCaslin, and Monica Reza disappeared while hiking in June of 2025 in California, and Neil McCaslin disappeared in February of 2025, just walking out of his house in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So these are months apart. Monica Reza gives me chills, number one. She seemed to have disappeared into thin air. She was behind a friend or two while hiking about 30 feet. It's kind of like they look back and they're like, hey.
How did I know that this could come up? There's been missing time differentiation where people have gone missing in national parks. And that's because there's time distortions in these places. What I'm saying is that I get a feeling that this person, she could be in a different time. I think that other people this happened with other people, where they go missing in national parks. It's just because they are federal, they don't have to report all of this stuff because it's national parks. They don't. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know about people going missing in national parks. But there are people that go missing in these places a lot. And one university study, I don't know if it was Minnesota or Wisconsin, I don't remember, somewhere around there, did a study about, because another guy that went missing in the national parks, his family, everyone else, damn, I'm gonna cut that nose off. He just disappeared off the face of the earth. And family and other people said, hey, there's no reason, there's no way he could have disappeared. And the people that knew that were there at the park, he was right by them, and he disappeared, and 1 second they're there, the other they're gone. And there's time differentiation that happens there, missing time loop, not time loops, but time flows differently. One area could be 1 inch here, and time is moving different. You're over here another inch, it's flowing different, and it has a lot to do with where we are. Like right there, they're in a different time, place, because it's recorded, stuff like that. Right now, I'm in a different time and place, except for that person, though, could be in a totally different hundreds of years back, forwards, almost like a different time period. I forgot the right word, but it's like just how there are different types of
Okay. And then a second later, or I don't even know, a minute later, she's gone. Vanishes into thin air. There's very little known about this search, but what I could find was that they had a canine dog. They were sniffing around. They found a hat. Her scent stopped at this hat. I mean, what? And she was actually marked deceased and had like some kind of biodegradable burial. And I know that anybody can go online and do this. I understand how that works. But that's very odd that someone would do that when there was no body. And there was no statement from NASA, no nothing. We just kind of skimmed over this. And what I'll say is, and again, I don't have proof, but former FBI agent Chris Swecker, he has a lot of great information and a lot of great intel about what happens when these people are possibly kidnapped and tortured for intelligence. And he's not saying it's by our own government, right?
Right.
We don't know who it is. We're not saying that it's not.
Yeah.
Right? But there's all these options. And then Neil McCaslin, this is very similar to the 10th person missing, the 10th official, Stephen Garcia. Both of them were last seen in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I mentioned General McCaslin walked out of his home. At the time, his wife didn't know if any guns were missing from his gun safe, but officials from the sheriff's office later reported that he was missing a revolver. He didn't take his phone, didn't take his wallet, nothing that he would need, not his glasses. And Stephen Garcia, and I think I mentioned this was February of 2026. Stephen Garcia, he is another official tied to, he had top security clearance at KCNSC out of New Mexico. He was in charge of all of the classified equipment and assets, tens of thousands of dollars. And, this is through a source. I do not know his job description, verbatim here, but he also was last seen walking around New Mexico with a handgun. And so, with Stephen Garcia, it was stated by officials he could be a danger to himself. Neil McCaslin, there was a silver alert, and his wife, in this very, in my opinion, disturbing
I think that could be made up.
On one call, kind of indicates that, quote, he may not want to be found. She said he deliberately changed his clothes before he left. She said he was experiencing this brain and mental fog, and this is one of the reasons that he retired. And she just said he was getting frustrated. But
like I said, I've heard of CIA mind washing programs where they insert stuff into people's minds that are around these top secret programs where their memories will be deleted. They'll have mind fog, or they get dementia and Alzheimer's, and stuff like that. It's a convenient way so they can't know about, they can't put out their secrets.
She never
and everything, so
would have thought that it would have meant this. And she's been criticized about this 911 call. And I don't want to criticize her because she called immediately, you know, when she realized he was gone, and everybody reacts differently. I don't think that she would have thought that it would have been anything like this. She just said he was kind of frustrated. The last thing I'll say, the last thing I heard from authorities was that they found an Air Force sweatshirt a couple of miles away, but they have not confirmed whether or not that belongs to General McCaslin. So I've got to make some calls. And then lastly, I know I am blabbing so hard right now.
Keep going.
One of the deaths that I am very, very invested in, and I think this is this kind of crosses over into some other things we're mentioning in society right now, but Carl Grillmere. He was a Caltech astrophysicist, reportedly a genius, who's doing amazing work in finding water on other planets. He lived in Llano, California, in a very isolated area. I mean, you can pull up the map and you can just see his house, very isolated. So in December of 2025, he sees a guy walking on his property who we now know is Freddie Snyder, carrying a rifle. And he's freaked out, obviously, so he calls 911. Freddie Snyder gets arrested. He says, oh, I was going to the post office. I just needed this to protect myself against wild animals. Well, the post office was the other way. And he gets arrested, and for whatever reason, you know, they give him a felonies charge. And I shouldn't say for whatever reason, whatever reason is they let him go. They release him ROR after that felonies charge. And by February 6th, prosecutors drop the charge. And the reason, whatever, so he calls 911. Freddie lived in Llano, California, in a very isolated area. I mean, you can pull up the map and you can just see his house, very isolated. So in December of 2025, he sees a guy walking on his property who we now know is Freddie Snyder, carrying a rifle. And he's freaked out, obviously, so he calls 911. Freddie Snyder gets arrested. He says, oh, I was going to the post office. I just needed this to protect myself against wild animals. Well, the post office was the other way. And he gets arrested, and for whatever reason, you know, they give him a felonies charge. And I shouldn't say for whatever reason, whatever reason is they let him go. They release him ROR after that felonies charge. And by February...
What the fuck? Why do you have a problem with them letting him go? He's also his property, but at the same time, okay, he was also else's property. Well, thing is, obviously, they should have put him in a mental... You know, they should have taken him to a hospital and checked his mental faculties and stuff like that, and made sure he's okay. But, you know, this is really something. I've always been right about this stuff, where how the CIA has used people, implant stuff in their heads, to make them go crazy, to erase memories, to change who they are. This is people like Lee Harvey Oswald, JFK, and etc. So,
February 6th, prosecutors dropped the charge entirely. The judge dropped the charge entirely. There's some kind of California penal code where essentially it says in lay terms, if you don't have any priors, you know, something like this would make sense. We're going to drop this. We're not going to keep you coming back to court, etc. Well, that was February 5th. By February 16th, Freddie Snyder allegedly goes back and shoots Carl Grillmere in the torso on his porch at his home.
I thought I thought I might have the two guys. I had two guys mixed up. Okay, so he went back there and killed him. Yeah. Wow. Wow. I was wondering if I was going to eat shit for... Say, I did. Yeah, wow. He's gone. That's blood on the police's hands. That's for damn sure. That's blood on their hands. For not, you know, protecting him and, you know.
February 16th, Freddie Snyder allegedly goes back and shoots Carl Grillmere in the torso on his porch at his home. And now Freddie Snyder is sitting at Twin Towers, I'm assuming, pretty close to Nick Reiner, and waiting arraignment. He gets arraigned April 29th. So what's crazy is that California is so ridiculous with their court dockets and their papers. I've had to write letters to get indictments. I've had to send FOIA requests here. But one thing I will say is Carl Grillmer's wife has spoken out. Was right before I went on News Nation last week. The producers, we were all kind of diving in. They were making calls. And his wife said it's not connected to any of these other scientists. That's her belief. Neil McCaslin's wife came out and said it's not connected. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office in New Mexico has said enough with the conspiracy theories. I get it. I totally get it. Neil McCaslin's wife also works in
you need to shut the fuck up.
Aerospace research. And Carl Grillmer's wife, she's a widow. She probably saw this crazy person with her own eyes. But my question is, why was he released? Why was he there? He was absolutely targeting him for a reason. This house is way too isolated. And reportedly, he did live in the area, this Freddie Snyder guy. And neighbors, I say neighbors because it's miles apart, they said he was a little unhinged. I mean, it's bothering me. I can't.
Yano because I know a lot about Yano because I've been by there, and installations by there. You can see, we'd see go by there, see UFOs or whatever, and stuff. And there's Twin Sisters Air Force Base. It's just a hangar out in the middle of nowhere, and there has to be some type of secret shit going on there. But it's just a hangar bay door open there or something, and they got some activity there. I don't know, it's just weird shit there, Yano. But yeah, that's out in the middle, out in the desert. I don't like being around that much desert. I hate the desert. It's just death to me, and everything, except for UFO buddies that come out sometimes see me and stuff, but otherwise I hate the desert. I think people gotta be stupid for liking it, but yeah, that's out, like, not many people out at Yano.
Can't help it. It's bothering me.
I see what you're saying.
And
if you look at every individual case, it is a possible explanation.
Yeah.
And in no way, the widows, of course, they don't want to be harassing anybody who's
there. She's right, and I know Yano from being in Yano because I've been there so much earlier. Is that it's out in the middle of boondocks. Why is the guy out over there? He had to have had targeted him. He had to be targeting him. There is no fucking post office there that I know of. The closest one is probably there is Lake LA. If there is one in Lake LA, there's Palmdale, there's Lancaster, stuff. So I don't know what be.
Watch this. Please don't harass these people, right? And and leave them alone at the very least. Let's go to the authorities, and those are the people who we can ask. But as you said, members of Congress and others, they're worried about this. That seems to be maybe an indication of something bigger. Maybe
this is the days that whistleblowers have to be scared that they could be next. And there are criminals working in Congress, incognito with defense contractors and intelligence to subvert and to stop the truth of UFOs coming out and stuff. So there's these people that are working, they're the enemy and stuff, and they're doing all they can to stop the truth from getting out. Like I said, the old regime is back, where they're willing to kill people and keep stuff secret.
Just responding to media pressure. But from your view, maybe not each individual case, in totality, you see some sort of pattern. You originally opened with UFOs. Why did you make that connection to UFO?
Yeah, it's funny because I always grew up thinking that they're bogus. They're just something in an alien movie. And the more research you do, the more you realize how important it is that we understand what a UAP is. And I'm calling it a UAP because it just sounds less crazy. It really does. And I just feel like we're stemming it from a congressional meeting they had.
Oh God, I have to get rid of these stupid. I'm done with this shit. There's nobody watching this. What the fuck? I got other stuff to do. I gotta go and talk to people. This is the way